Ready? Welcome to our Checkity Check. This will just be informal tonight. We're just testing a few new things that we have set up here. The look's a little different. We're still using the Canon C200 here. And so the only difference with the camera here is that we did get a matte box so that I can use the different filters that I have. So in this case, we're using a Schneider Radiant Soft 4, and that's what you're seeing here. So the idea with this particular filter is that it diffuses the light a little bit more. So the thing with 4K and higher resolutions is that they get a little harsh on faces, and frankly, in a lot of cases, the processing of the cameras kind of creates this digital sharpness that isn't, I mean, it's almost like it's making up detail that isn't there in some cases, depending on the camera. So anyway, this sort of helps kind of diffuse that and gives it a little bit of a dreamlike quality. So you can suspend one's disbelief a little bit better, your audience's disbelief a little better. All right, let's see what we've got here. Are we sounding okay out there in the chat as far as audio is concerned? If you could let us know. We are going through the Shelford channel tonight, and that's feeding line level to the SQ5, where we mix the music and the line input from the Shelford channel, and then that's being fed out to the ATEM switcher here. So that's what we're looking at here. I'm going to pull up Keynote here so I have our notes for tomorrow's session. Let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda for tomorrow's session just to make sure that's coming up okay. Actually, do our super source. Oh, we got the super source now. There we go. So this is our super source, as we call it in the ATEM switcher world. And that looks like it's coming through okay. Andrew says we're sounding good. Thank you for that, Andrew. Hope everyone out there is doing well. This was a little bit of a hectic setup, was it not, Emma?
Yes.
Yes, it was. We wanted to do the check beforehand, just because tomorrow, one of the things that we're working on is we're going to do a demo of how I do some loudness normalization once you're finished with your mix, just kind of optimizing it for web presentation. And so let's go ahead and what I want to do is let's go over to the Mac and let's make sure that we have everything set up correctly there. Okay, so here we have, our output needs to be the decimator. Okay, now we just need to make sure that the audio that we play back from the Mac is coming through the stream. Where is that playing? That's playing somewhere else. Stand by. Isotope has its own preferences that I have to change here, it looks like. Our output device needs to be the decimator. Okay. Let's try that again.
So they expect to be able to, or expect other people to be able to put together lives just on the fly sometimes.
Okay. So that's coming through okay. Where's the fader set on the Mac Pro?
Minus 6.8.
Let's go ahead and bump that back up to 0. We good? Okay.
Well, like anything, any creative pursuit, it takes a lot to produce a well-done live stream, as we have figured out over the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people forget about that.
Okay. So let's go back to our main cam here. And what I want to check next is I'm going to come back over into the SQ here, and I want to see what I'm curious about for those out there watching. How is sync looking here? And I think on the output we have a delay set. Let me just check some things. Thanks for the feedback, Chris. Almost too soft. Yeah, the 4 is probably a little strong. I'm probably going to pop the 3 in there. Seems a little strong for my taste. If you have a half strength, that'd be more my preference, but to each their own. Everything sounds and looks great. Okay, thanks, Baron. Definitely a little darker than normal, maybe the filter, or maybe the filter isn't as strong looking when the exposure is higher. What's this light set to? Can you see the dimmer setting on it? It's a little tricky.
Yeah. 20.
20, okay, that's normal. I'll check this one back here. That'll brighten up the room just a touch there. All right, we're going to take a look back at the sync situation. Sync looks good. Yes, we have our typical 133 millisecond delay on the mixer, so the audio should be in sync with the video. Okay. All right. I think that's everything we needed to check beforehand. Emma, is there anything else you wanted to see before we do, just hang out with our friends?
No. However, the computer audio is a little louder than you.
It is. Okay, you're going to need to ride that fader then, because what'll happen is, yeah, it's going to come in louder than me by the time we do our normalization, for sure. It's going to be louder. So
let's test that again.
Okay, we're going to test that again at Emma's request here. So Emma.
Well, like anything, any creative pursuit, it takes a lot to produce a well done live stream, as we have figured out over the past few months. And I think a lot of people forget about that. And a talking sample from you.
Oh, talking sample for me. Here's me talking. Check 1, 2, 3. And we're good. Back to the audio on the computer.
Just the general public forgets about that. So they...
You have a good feel?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's our mixer using her ears. Thank you for that. All right. I guess we'll go back to our main cam here. And we have a couple minutes. Do we have a couple minutes?
Mm-hmm.
What's our time limit? 15 minutes?
Sure.
15 minutes. Emma has to go take care of some other things, but...
Well, y'all in the chat need to go to bed, too. It's
Yeah.
only later on the East Coast. Like, it's late.
Well, yeah, but what time is it, Andrew? What time is it in Australia? When you're in the Sydney area, what time is it there?
It's tomorrow.
Well, it's tomorrow, but what time tomorrow? Actually, maybe it's midday for Andrew. I'm not sure. Okay, feedback is that this filter's a little soft. We can take care of that. When we bought them, this was going to be one for the kind of more, the beauty shots, I think, and then the 3 is a little bit more like, what?
Also a question, who's we?
When I bought this.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
It says it's 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Oh, okay, yeah, he's good. He doesn't need to go to bed. You don't need to go to bed yet. We're trying to ensure that everyone has good bedtime practices. I do have some news. My news is that I actually canceled my Adobe Audition account. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah, that was the big news for the week. So I made a decision. Lloyd was kind enough to put me in touch with one of his colleagues over at PreSonus. So we're going to go and check that out. I've got Logic, I've got Pro Tools, I've got a lot of options here that we can work with. So we're going to give some things a try here this year. See if worse comes to worse, I can always renew the Audition subscription. It's weird because it's one of those things where you feel like it's a tool that you know really, really well, and you don't have it at your disposal anymore, and it's a good way to learn a new tool. So I have to give myself at least, I figure that with a new tool, you need to give yourself 30 days where you use the tool for that purpose regularly. And at that point, you can make a better evaluation. If you just spend an hour with it or 2 hours with it, that's not enough. I think you really need to give yourself more time. So that's my thinking. That's actually how I switched originally from Premiere Pro to Final Cut. Was I said, okay, all my editing for 1 month has to be in Final Cut, and I can't touch Premiere. And I did that, and finally Final Cut kind of clicked. It started to make sense. And I do really very much like the magnetic timeline in Final Cut, but it's an awful nightmare when it comes to mixing audio. So this may also drive a change to my editing software. Maybe it's time. But here's the funny thing. So if I go to Resolve, then there's Fairlight automatically built in, so it probably makes sense to go with Fairlight. If I go, I'm not going to go to Premiere. Yeah, so I guess, I don't know. Final Cut and Logic might make sense, but I don't know. What do you think about Logic?
I don't use it anymore.
What do you think about Logic when you did use it?
It was nice.
You think you could get used to it?
Yeah.
Working in there? Yeah, for music at least.
Yeah.
I think the round trip from Final Cut to Logic is a little better, but you still get some funkiness because, again, you have that trackless model. That's the whole thing with Final Cut, is you have a trackless model. So it's not like a typical digital audio workstation where you have a track-based model where everything is assigned to a track, and that gives you some power and some ability to do things that are really difficult to do on a trackless model, where audio goes wherever it fits on a trackless model. It doesn't matter. It plays all of it, but in terms of where it's located, it's not assigned to a track, so it's really weird. UGG on Logic for editing, great for composing. Okay, fair enough, Victor. Thank you for that. And again, I haven't really done much with it. Logic and Pro Tools I've used for podcast where I didn't have to do a ton of editing. It had more to do with just, normalizing the levels, leveling out the speech, cleaning things up. And for that, they both work great, of course, but it's getting used to that model. I'm just glad you could teach me Audition before you jumped ship. I'm not sure I've jumped ship. I've just taken a vacation. Let's put it that way. We'll see where that leads. All right. We don't really have anything else for the moment, I guess.
Talk about cable management.
Cable management. We have an issue with cable management that we are dealing with right here, and that's something we're going to need to work on. So we've labeled some of the cables, and that works well. Mm-hmm. But some of the cables we have not labeled. So what we're talking about here is, if you switch over to the Mac here, we have our, whoops, not that one. Let's go here. Okay. We showed you this last week for those of you that joined. And again, thanks to Ike for setting us up with H2R gear, and thanks to John, who is the developer writing the code. So we can't leave all this stuff set up in this little tiny room all week long because I have to work here. So, so some of it, so the ATEM2 is in a rolling rack mount case outside the door. So all of the cables that run to it from the 12G cross converters and from the SQ5, all those, we have to disconnect those so I can move that thing out of the way out there, kind of put it back in its spot. And then I roll up all the ends of these cables in here, and just they kind of lay inside the door, just slightly out of the way. But some of them were not labeled, so we had a job figuring out which was which. I thought I had labeled all of them already, but evidently I had not. So we're working on that. The audio cables were not a big deal, but the SDI cables get pretty confusing if you don't label those. So let's just take a look here on our streaming dashboard and just see where our encoder is set. We're streaming at UHD, 30 megabits per second. Oh, I don't know if we can change this midstream. Do you think we can? No. Quality. Oh, that's the latency. I don't want to mess with that. Let's not mess with that. The interesting thing about this encoder, though, is we can actually encode to H.265 HEVC. I need to test at some point to see if that is supported by YouTube. I don't know the answer to that. And the audio is encoded at AAC 320K bits per second. We could probably bump that up, but we're not going to do that midstream either. All right, everything seems good on that front. There's the live stream. We got 19 people. Thanks for joining us, people, while we get this set up. All right. Make sure you label your cables if you're going to do this. I'm just starting with audio and Audition. Should I choose another instead? Mike, that's a tough question.
I have an answer.
Emma has an answer.
I don't think for when you're starting out, like, you have to disregard some advice. Some. I think you should skip around and try stuff. And then once you have a handle on, what's actually going on, then you can choose, oh, this is the best workflow, or this is not the best workflow for me.
Well, yeah, but that's an expensive proposition, isn't it? So Emma's saying, be careful. You don't have to settle on one right away. But try different ones. Yeah. Try different digital audio workstations.
I say that because I did free trials. I was able to do free trials.
Trials, okay.
Now, if there aren't trial periods, then yeah, it becomes a different game. But
yeah, so many of them do have trial periods, and you can try that. Or, for example, Studio One from PreSonus, it looks like you have the option for, there's a monthly subscription. I think it's $15 a month. That would be a great way to do it if they don't have a free trial. But they also have a free version, Studio One Prime, I believe it's called. Mm-hmm. So you could just try that as well. I don't know if Adobe has free trials. I think they still have a 30-day free trial. Ableton, do they have?
Ableton has 90 days for standard. Logic also has 90 days.
90 days for Logic and for Ableton Live.
Yeah. I say that just because I started in GarageBand and then progressed to Logic, and then I was like, oh, I should try Live because everybody uses Live.
Well, everybody that does electronic music production.
Quote everybody.
Yeah.
And then, you can get, for music, you can get, like, all the major DAWs
Yeah.
for a trial period.
You know,
So
another
I
thing.
think it's actually good to jump around a little bit when you're first starting.
Yeah, give a few things a try. For Mike, I ignore the Ableton Live. That's
Yeah.
not, if you're doing film, then that's not really the thing.
applicable.
That's more for electronic music production.
Yeah.
So, so Emma's advice is do the free trials. It's not bad advice.
Tell Alexi not to crack software.
No cracking software. Don't crack it.
Yeah.
Those people need to eat too. I actually found a bunch of my courses on sites that had somehow gotten a hold of all of my training courses and were selling my entire catalog of courses for $39,
That's really.
that hurts. Ouch.
Yeah.
So I wrote a note to each of the ones that I found and asked them to please take it down. We'll see what happens. Yeah, because I need to eat too. So I'm not a fan of cracking software. So everyone needs to eat and everyone needs to earn a living. So I would support that. Same with artists. Same with music. Don't steal the music.
Don't steal beats.
Don't steal the beats.
Not cool. Talk about the onion rings. Those were cool.
The what?
Onion rings.
Emma made onion rings for us for dinner last night. With we had salmon patties, onion rings, and then we watched a BTS concert from 2017
Oh, we did.
on
On DVDs. I own a DVD.
How do they produce DVDs? Do they have Blu-rays as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But those are like nobody buys Blu-rays.
Nobody buys Blu-rays.
No.
They buy DVDs instead?
Yeah.
Why?
Because nobody has a Blu-ray player.
Seriously? I don't think that's quite right.
Think about somebody my age. Nobody has a Blu-ray.
Yeah, your age. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
They don't own Blu-ray players. Well, what about all those people that use Redbox to rent movies? Those are all Blu-rays, aren't they?
I don't know anybody who does Redbox. Anyway.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
I own CDs. I own DVDs. I have yet to own a tape, but.
Okay. Emma is a proud owner of a few CDs, audio CDs, a few DVDs, and it's hopefully at some point some cassette tapes. Is that what you're aiming for?
Sure.
What about vinyl?
I could get into vinyl.
Yeah, she's thinking about getting into vinyl.
Andrew Pelgrave asks, BTS, ?
Okay, put that up on the screen. We'll talk about this. So I didn't know what BTS was either, Andrew. BTS is a K-pop band. So a band, 7 guys from South Korea. They sing pop music.
Backstreet Boys.
No. Well, I mean, the concept is not that different.
No, it isn't.
It's just the 2021 version of that, I guess. Oh, yeah, I guess it really kind of is, isn't it? Yeah. So.
Do you even remember, like, the first time I told you about them?
Yeah, because you went to Whitney's house, and you and Cecilia and.
Oh yeah, we watched videos for like.
You watched
5 hours.
Hours of videos, so yeah.
I remember now.
All right, I think we're going to wrap this up. We are going to have a couple things actually. Let's switch back to the Super Source really quickly. Just for those of you that haven't seen, Rob Christiansen joins our live streams pretty much every week. And he has his own live stream where he and his friend Jim overanalyze movies. And they've invited me to join them tomorrow night to join them on their live stream. And we're going to overanalyze the movie Making Waves, The Art of Cinematic Sound. So anyway, that's just for your information. You can go to Rob Christiansen's channel on YouTube, and you'll find the link there. Or for our live stream tomorrow, we have a link to that in the description as well. So Lloyd suggests checking out someone's channel on YouTube. John Darko.
Vinyl or not dead.
Okay, all right. There you go, Emma.
Yeah.
That's your assignment.
Excellent.
She's on it. All right. And cool. Okay. This is another reminder here, Emma. So Dean has a spare set of bioluminescence knobs for the Zoom F6, and he's happy to send them to somebody. So we're going to need to have the random number generator ready to go. So I think random.org is where you want to be.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, people, thanks for joining us for our check tonight. Hope you're all doing well. Hang in there. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care.